Hello, everybody. Welcome to Government Secrets. My name is Graham Elwood. It's episode 61. We're going to bring Lee Camp out here. Sound like a morning DJ. 17th caller is going to get tickets to the big concert at the place this weekend. Thank you for watching us at CIA Tube and, of course, Facebook and rockfin.com. And, of course, those of you watching on the TikTok. If you're watching on the TikTok, you might want to jump over to rockfin.com/Graham Elwood or youtube.com/Graham Elwood, where you can watch Government Secrets. Please hit the like button. Share this out on your social media. If you're on YouTube, I have pinned the best way to support the show is at LiberaPay, which one of the more confusing payment platforms I've ever seen in my life, but I think I got it figured out. But it's only confusing on our end. It's not confusing for you. God forbid they make it easy on the content creator. So go to rockfin.com/Graham Elwood. And when you share this on your social media and like it and all that other stuff, all that stuff helps. All right, let's bring out Lee Camp. What's up, Lee?
Hey, man, don't bring me on right now. I'm tweeting out the link. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, okay.
How you doing?
I'm good, buddy. I'm super good.
Good to hear. Glad we continue to confuse you with LiberaPay. It's very exciting.
Dude.
What is that you're drinking?
This is a beautiful vegan smoothie that has unsweetened organic almond milk. Way more exciting than cashew milk.
Excuse me. That's called almond water because almonds don't have nipples.
How do you know that?
Dude,
How do you know almonds don't have nipples?
I've done a lot of research on this. There's all these lawsuits where the big ag is trying to force things like almond milk to not use the word milk, or various vegan burgers to not use the word burger. And sometimes they're successful at like legally forcing them to not use these words. But I'm like, bitch, you're called a hamburger. You don't even have ham in you. Who are you to talk about what something can be called? Hot dogs don't have hot or dogs in them, all right?
How dare you, bratwurst, take that sort of arrogant, I don't know what worst even means.
Yeah,
and
they're like, these vegan dogs can't call themselves dogs. You don't have dogs in yours either. Shut up.
The only thing about that pushback is they might go, okay, well, now we'll put real dog in it. There we go.
now with real dog. Yeah.
I wouldn't put it behind Oscar Mayer to just at least crunch the numbers. Like there's a PowerPoint presentation out there on the positive, negative aspects of their marketing if they use real dog.
As long as we're on this tangent, I also love that expiration dates, most of them are meaningless, but I love the idea that they care a lot about whether we're eating something a day after it was at its prime. Yet there is literally a legal amount of rat feces that is allowed to be in like hot dogs and stuff. So they're like, well, sure, there's a bit of rat feces, but you don't want to have it a day after this day we marked on there.
When rat feces goes bad, it really tastes nasty. When rat feces
it gets bitter. It's no good anymore.
It's bitter. It's not like the blue cheese of vermin feces. That gets better once it ages. It actually gets worse. Yeah, I'm sorry that the vegan smoothie, I put some unsweetened organic peanut butter in it, and it kind of chalked up my throat.
How many ingredients are involved? This sounds. Do you have a sous chef when you make these? When you prep?
I'm a smoothie sommelier, basically. To be quite honest, Lee, that I get. I had three different. I had frozen mango, frozen strawberry, frozen banana, all organic, vegan protein powder, and then like some greens powder, and then actual frozen leaves of spinach, and then the peanut butter.
Vegan protein powder made out of vegans made out of protein.
Yeah, we grind up vegans. We get the weakest of the vegans, the ones that don't eat enough protein, and then we grind them up. The ones that just eat like potato chips and think they're being vegan, and we grind them up, the weak ones. I'm actually
that's my favorite is when people are like, because I'm vegetarian and people are like, you can't really get enough protein, you can't have enough strength with them. Like, you know how many pathetic, sad little people I know who eat meat? Like, there's plenty. There's plenty
of pathetic, sad little people that eat meat.
They act like everybody who eats a hamburger is like benching a Buick or something. It's like, no, there are like sad little skinny, easily bruised people who eat plenty of meat.
And we should go beat them up, I think is what you're saying, right? Well, like we should be vegan and vegetarian bullies and go, hey, meat eating nerd, and just shove them to the ground. You look weak.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Apparently that rat feces isn't keeping you strong enough.
Where's all your bacon strength now, murderer? And then just shove them around.
Bacon strength.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Government Secrets, episode 61. We're 39 weeks away from episode 100.
I like this 100 countdown that's going to be ongoing.
We got to plan something big for it. I want to give us enough time to have a big GovSeeks 100 event.
What's your view of big? Like if I wear a hat, does that count?
There you go. All right, that's the big celebration. Just wear a hat. There you go. I'm guessing you didn't go. You didn't go to a Halloween party, did you, or anything like that?
No, there was a mutual aid get together at a kind of a public housing place we went to, and then actually for the first time ever in my life, I handed out candy to kids.
Wow, that's right.
It happened.
That's wow. You've never done that before.
No, growing up, I went trick-or-treating as a kid, but growing up, our house was at the end of a long haunted road. And so nobody came down there. Then I was in New York City, where you live in a building with 9 billion other people and nobody walks through those. And then, in DC, just wasn't in the right kind of building, apartment buildings. And this one, there's only 9 other units in the place, and you can kind of stand out front and hand out candy.
Wow. That's amazing, Lee.
Did you hurl candy at kids with your judo strength?
I too live in a big high-rise building where there's I don't even know if there's any kid, I didn't see anybody trick-or-treating in my building, so I didn't even do it. I just walked out. I was going to meet some friends and they were there, and then I was just in the middle of this decadent Halloween, drunken stupidity. And I was like, God, I was going to go to a movie. That was my plan last night, was to just go to a movie because no one would be there. And then my friend was like, you should come. I was like, oh, I want to meet some people, get outside. And I was like, they didn't show. And then I was walking around alone with all these drunk people.
Yeah, no, if you're sober, a drunken party is rough.
It is the worst. I mean, that is the number one thing of all these years of being, once I stopped drinking, of being around drunks is the most annoying thing on the planet. I would rather be alone in a dark room, just facing the wall, than have to be around drunk, annoying people.
Which I only do 2 or 3 times a month. So, I've cut back on that too.
That just sounds I can just meditate and maybe I'll stare into the abyss and it'll get dark and weird in my brain. That's even way more interesting than, oh my God, take a picture.
No, it is true. Because there's no good conversation that can come out of being sober talking to a drunk person. There's nothing.
No, there's nothing. Not
even,
one.
Even if you were both sober, you would politically agree and have all these shared interests. When one's drunk, it's still not going to be good.
No, because then they'll just say the same thing. Drunks say the same thing over and over. They get too loud. They don't listen. They interrupt you. It's just annoying. It's like, wow, I could have this. This is why I don't hang out and spend time with my family. This is so why would I want to invite this? Just, oh God, just miserable. Should have gone to the movies. I wanted to see Dune. I haven't seen it yet. I want to. So
I did not get the movie experience, but I watched it on my laptop. So
you watched Dune on your laptop?
Yeah, it's on HBO Max.
So you just. That's fascinating to me. I'm such a movie.
Sorry, man.
It's really, I can't. That's just
you're everything I hate about America. That's what you want to say, right?
Yeah, it's like, why go to the Louvre when I can just I can just look at a photo of the Mona Lisa? Like, why would I want to?
All right, can everyone just write it down in their little books that Graham just compared Dune to the Louvre? That's
no.
In his mind, those are equivalent.
No. I compared a theater experience to the Louvre, and I compared Dune to Mona Lisa. That was a bizarre. That's where I overstepped my bounds. I will agree to that. But I think a movie theater is an experience.
I didn't say I don't enjoy a nice movie theater. I saw the new James Bond in the theater. Supported my local small theater.
Okay.
So there you go.
God, this is like talking to a drunk. I mean, this is really awful.
Graham's going to turn around and face the wall right now. Be like, this makes me happier.
This is so much better. Oh, this is like when I go on the road with Ron Placone and he's like, no, I never saw The Deer Hunter. And I'm like, oh my God, Ron. And I just
I am sorry, Graham. I sullied the Dune.
It's somebody said Dune is less than a nude. All right. It's all right. Let's move forward. Let's get into our first segment of government secrets.
All right. I have fought doing this all the way until now on the show, but I am doing the same story for this week as I'm doing on Redacted tonight. So I decided to finally break the mold. I had put a lot of research into it, and I was like, I'm not fucking wasting this shit. So I'm going to do it on both shows. If you are a big Redacted Tonight fan and you just can't handle that, then you're going to have to fast forward to the next segment or something. But
just face the wall in the dark.
Face the wall in the dark for roughly 30 minutes, and it'll be over.
Meditate, listen to your breathing, get one of those calm apps or whatever. You'll be good.
Anyway, this is, I also am switching it up a little because I'm going a little more modern history.
Hey.
I haven't, it's not that I've never done this, but I think we haven't been this recent on too many of our episodes. So I want to talk about, and there are updates as of this month and last month, on how Russiagate was a complete lie and has all collapsed. And there's new information, folks. I'm not just reading stuff from 3 years ago, but I think people need to understand. I know people want to move on and from Russiagate, and look, I want to move on too, but you have to understand this is like a massive crime that was done against the American people and put us closer to nuclear, like, oblivion. Like, we went toe-to-toe with another nuclear state, accusing them of something that is just completely fabricated by the Clinton campaign and the DNC. Like,
it also needs to be continued to talk about, and especially since you have new information, because do you think this is the last one they're going to do?
Yeah, I think they're done fabricating bullshit.
They learned their lesson. They're like, we're gonna push propaganda to scare the American people one way or the other anymore. We're done doing that.
No, it is true that if you learn about this and you don't give up on like learning about it and you really like keep adding new information to it, you can apply that to the next time the next fucking propaganda shit show is rolled out. I mean, it's constant, but it's rarely, you know, the fucking dog and pony shit show that they do, but it's rarely this large. You will see a lot of propaganda that's kind of story by story, but this was a large multi-year many people involved, fucking scam on the American people.
Well, and the thing that I would always point out too is the scam extends, and it really shows when we talk about the, and we've talked about this before in this show, and I've talked about this a lot on my show, Political Vigilante, of when we talk about the corporate media, I'm not just talking about like MSNBC's news division. We're talking about Russiagate. Do you think it was like a coincidence that that documentary about the Russians cheating, with steroids in the Olympics that came out around the same time? The enemy in Stranger Things was the Russians. In Apollo Creed, the Creed 2, he fights a Russian, like he fights Drago's kid.
The Denzel Washington movie, what was it called? Like the fucking Equalizer or whatever, where he literally empties out a like Ace Hardware store, killing Russians with various types of tools like corkscrews and fucking hedge clippers and shit.
Yeah. All of a sudden, the bad guy in every movie was Russian. Like all of it, that just happened overnight. And it was like, and because Hollywood, and this is something people might not know, cannot make fun of the Chinese, cannot make China the enemy in a movie, in an action movie. Because if they do, China will say, oh, you're not getting access to our 1.5 billion moviegoers now.
Yep.
Like China in the last 10 years has gone from like 200 movie screens to 5,000 or something like that, as their economy has increased and the middle class has increased. Now going to the movies as they want to do. So now you'll notice in movies where the Chinese government is always represented positively. That's when you know it's getting distribution in China. Or like the movie Red Dawn, when they remade the movie Red Dawn, the enemy was China. And then China said, oh, you're not getting distribution. So they went back in post and digitally changed all the flags and the uniforms and insignias to be North Koreans. Yes.
Seriously?
Dead serious.
Oh my God.
That's dead serious. So
holy shit.
The fact that why is Russia the big, China literally, and this is what China does quite well, is they flex their financial muscles. They don't want to get into a war with us, but they'll just go, oh, okay, fine. You don't get access to the biggest film market in the world.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're right. Right. The push and the McCarthyism, the push to hate Russia was over multi-platforms, multi-areas, politics, media, Hollywood, news. I mean, it really was impressive. And of course, a certain percentage of that is just idiots jumping on the bandwagon. Oh, Russia rigged the elections. But a large portion of it is people that are not idiots. And they're just like, oh, this is what we're doing now. It's time to do the McCarthyism thing again.
Yeah. I mean, we saw it late night talk shows, the jokes in the monologue were Russia this, Russia that, it just became common. They did the job of what good propaganda is now. And with social media and entertainment media, you can push the narrative out there to get people to just believe it. Oh, Russia hacked the election. Just like the first time I was ever on RT, friends of mine were like, oh, some Hollywood comedian friends were like, well, RT, Graham, that's Russian state-sponsored media. And I was like,
yeah. I refuse to go on RT because of that. But
I know. I don't blame you. It's bad over there.
No, it's amazing. I mean, I could rant about this for an hour and a half. The fucking people that have turned on me, fucking comedians that, act like they're somehow morally above me because they're fucking, Michael Ian Black is doing tours with Meghan McCain and he's the good guy and I'm an asshole. Like it's truly amazing.
Wow. What a piece of shit.
Yeah. Total piece of shit. Anyway, that aside, pieces of shit aside, no, there'll be lovely pieces of shit in this story. So, what happened recently, which I'll start with that and then I'll back up. What happened recently is that, so there is still an investigation going into Russiagate, but it's an investigation started by Trump into how it was created, who did it, meaning who created this hoax of Russiagate. And there's still a special counsel for the Justice Department named John Durham, who's still investigating because he's not, just because Trump's gone, he's not gone. And he recently indicted Michael Sussman, who is the longtime lawyer for the Clinton campaign, worked with the DNC. And Sussman just recently pleaded not guilty. He's accused of lying to the FBI General Counsel James Baker in 2016. The Justice Department alleges Sussman said he was not working for any client when he tried to bring them information on Trump that turned out to be false. Big surprise. On Trump and Russia connections. He said he was working for no client, but we now have evidence that he was working for the Clinton campaign at the time. So he lied to the FBI. But he's pleading not guilty on that. But let's get into a quick refresher before we go more into that. So the Russiagate scandal was basically three main tent poles. It was basically three scandals crammed into one. One was the Steele dossier, showing, Trump had all these Russian ties and he liked urinating on people in hotel rooms and etc. And the Steele dossier has, I'm not going to spend much time on that, been completely debunked. Even the AP, which is basically a liberal outlet, said, quote, the Steele dossier, once celebrated by liberal Washington, is officially debunked, according to a review by special counsel Robert Mueller. So even Mueller said Steele dossier, fucking garbage. And guess what? The dossier creator, Christopher Steele, was paid for with money from the Hillary Clinton campaign and the DNC. So it comes out DNC and Clinton hired Steele to basically put together a load of garbage. Look, there's plenty of things to hate about Trump, plenty of truth to hate about Trump. This was just a load of bullshit because they wanted to connect him to Russia. So that's scandal number one, completely debunked. Scandal number two, which I'm also not going to spend time on, but because I think people already know this, is the Facebook ads that Russia used to rig the election, right? All these ads. And in turn, we found out very quickly that 56% of them didn't even appear before the election. They appeared after the election. And then the ones that appeared before the election were, like, if you look at them, they don't even really promote Trump. They're just weird shit. Because it was a clickbait farm. It was,
right.
And there's no evidence that the clickbait farm called the Internet Research Agency or something, or service, or I think agency, was there's no clear evidence that they're even connected to the Russian government. So you have a clickbait farm in Russia just posting garbage, and a little bit of an update, although this was last year or a year before. Quietly, Robert Mueller dropped his indictments, his charges against the Russian internet firms. So he made a big show of indicting them and then quietly dropped them all because he couldn't prove any of it. So that leaves the third part of Russiagate, the third big scandal, which is the internal emails leaked from the DNC through WikiLeaks, revealed real corruption at the DNC, real corruption with the Clinton campaign. I'm not going to go into all those details, but fucking massively corrupt, connections between media and Clinton and everything else. None of the emails have ever been proven false. So when that happens, when the hack happens or leak, the DNC blames Russia. They say Russia hacked their servers and got their emails. So who do you think should be tasked with looking into these servers, looking into the data, finding out which national entity, if they're accusing a national entity, hacked these servers? Do you think maybe it should be like the FBI or the NSA? But no, we find out when Comey's testifying in front of Congress, he never saw any of the data. FBI never got access to these servers in any way. Like, never fucking touched them. Instead, it was an entity that Comey calls a high-class entity called CrowdStrike. Now, could you imagine on any other crime, like if someone were, instead of a data breach, like if someone was murdered and the FBI was like, all right, we murdered by Russians. Wow, that's crazy. We really need to look into this. Show us the body. And the DNC was like, yeah, no, we just gave it to our friend Earl. He's gonna look over the body. And then, you know, we'll get, and he'll let you know. He's a top-notch fellow, and he's never worked with bodies per se, but he's taxidermied a couple raccoons. And anyway, he's going to let us know.
Earl was also security guard at the roller rink, so I think he understands investigative tactics and procedures.
He gets it. He's been in law enforcement at the roller rink. So
he has a yellow jacket that says security on it. He drives a golf cart. I think he knows what he's doing.
Listen, I mean, if you got a golf cart, you pretty much know your shit. They don't just give those away, okay?
You think just anyone can drive a Cushman? Yeah. I don't think so.
I think just anyone can get a golf cart like that puppy right there. That goes 0 to 60. It hasn't gone 0 to 60, but it does some stuff. So
I think it's easy to just turn the key and then hit that pedal and it accelerates. Just anybody can just jump behind that. Sorry, I could do this riff all day. Go back.
Listen, I'm not trying to end this riff. All right, I in no way want to get in the way of this. So the DNC servers are hacked. They give them to CrowdStrike, which is a private internet security firm. Now, Graham, I'm gonna step back here and let you take a wild guess on who paid CrowdStrike.
I don't know. Maybe the DNC or Hillary or
both. Yeah, we would accept it both. Yeah,
the Clinton Foundation, somebody really good.
It's paid for basically by the DNC and the Clinton campaign because it's their lawyer. I lost the name, but I'll find it later. Anyway, their law firm, including Sussman. Oh, Perkins Coie. So Sussman works for Perkins Coie. Perkins Coie hires CrowdStrike. So basically, it's the DNC and the Clinton campaign hiring CrowdStrike. Which basically that hiring them and having them say it was Russia, that's the impetus for like so much of this. That's the impetus for like, oh, Russia hacked our election. Is this private entity getting paid millions of dollars to say Russia hacked the election? I mean, you honestly like it's too laughable to, I mean, like when this shit first started, you were like people were making fun or being like, I bet it's the Clinton campaign that hired him. Ha ha ha. No, literally.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. This like the Clinton campaign was corrupt, got pointed out to be corrupt by WikiLeaks, and then kept the corruption going to say, oh no, it was Russia.
Yeah. And something else I forgot to mention earlier is the Steele dossier, the Christopher Steele was hired by another private firm called Fusion GPS, which was hired by Perkins Coie. So it's kind of it's a little bit like having a front, like a mafia has a front or whatever, or a shell company. You basically, they don't want it to look like the DNC funded these things. So the DNC hires a law firm that hires these places.
It's so great. And, I could understand people getting all bent out of shape if there was already like a long history of the Clintons doing this type of corruption. But this was the first time anyone's ever brought up some sort of weird financial.
Graham, everybody deserves a second chance. And I don't understand why you won't give the Clintons that second chance.
It's my fault. Yeah, I was done with the Clintons when Bill ran for re-election in 96. I voted third party in 96 because I'm like, I'm done. I'm done with this guy. I'm done with everything. Done with all of them. So.
Oh, I see. According to you, you can't put a cigar in a couple of people. Jesus.
Boy, they have one sex trafficking pedophile at their daughter's wedding, and then everyone's got to judge them.
Listen, a guy flies on a sex trafficking jet just a couple of 26 times, and you want to make a thing out of it.
It's only a dozen, twice plus two. That's all it is, and you're making it into such a big thing. Like
Graham, Bill Clinton is hurting for cash, so he needed to borrow a jet.
I mean, why is everyone all bent out of shape that Bill and Hillary Clinton stayed at some pedophile's compound in New Mexico numerous times, in the state that also the governor, a Democrat, was also tied to this? I don't know why you're drawing all these crazy conclusions like some weirdo. It just doesn't make sense.
It's offensive and it's tinfoil hatty. And I wish you just realize that, someone, look, a couple of times I've been on a plane and I'm like, oh, fuck, are they trafficking sex workers on this plane? And, it's awkward, but you're like, could I get off at the next stop?
Yeah. I mean, we've all told our Secret Service detail to just hang back on these couple of flights because they didn't have space. We've all done that, Lee. It's not like a weird thing.
Listen, we've all been introduced to a 14-year-old sex worker and then grabbed our secret security details earpiece and swallowed it. We've all done that and then stomped on our cell phones. We've all done that because you want a little bit of time alone,
Right? Who doesn't have a friend who's a sex trafficking creep who then paints you in a dress in some weird thing that's found in their penthouse? Like, who doesn't have that series of events all together?
And I also heard Bill Clinton a couple of times rode on Epstein's sex trafficking golf cart as well. So
the Epstein Cushman.
yeah. So CrowdStrike's hired. This firm that nobody's really heard of is hired to look into these servers. What do you know? Getting paid millions of dollars. They go, yep, it was the Russians that did it. So they walk around and go, oh, it was the Russians that did it. And the FBI, now what of the FBI, they're kind of loose and easy when someone comes up and goes, hey, we're not going to show you the scene of a crime, but we're going to tell you about it. We got a guy who's going to tell you about it. And the FBI is usually like, Toad's cool, right? Toad's cool. So is that what you think they said with CrowdStrike? They were like, oh, thank you for this piece of paper telling us you found it was Russia.
Well, I think it's safe to say, just in general, the FBI always says totes. I mean, that's an official memorandum. They always go, totes cool, bro.
Well, that has to do with them trying to sell their tote bags, which is really it's oppressive. I mean, honestly, you can't see them at one press conference without, get the tote, guys. Come on. Listen, folks, this is a tote bag that says Federal Bra Inspector. And you can walk around with that one. It's great for the kids.
This is a new one for the holidays. It said Fred Hampton was guilty, and then it's got the FBI logo on it. It's pretty cool. It's great for the holidays.
Always. I mean, they are underfunded, so they're always pushing their toes.
The FBI absolutely is underfunded, and we need their support, guys. We're setting up a GoFundMe for the FBI.
And the Pentagon with their beer cozies. It's really, guys, we get it. You're hard up. Just stop. It's pathetic.
It's great. They're doing great work.
So Comey in front of Congress says multiple times, I have no problem with that he has no problem with CrowdStrike giving him the info. That's great. Never saw the servers, never asked for them. Although there is some back and forth where he says they did ask for them and instead were given CrowdStrike's report, but he's a fan of the report, loves it, thinks it's great. We then find out by accident in the Roger Stone trial, when they were putting Roger Stone on trial for lying to Congress or FBI or whatever, in kind of a side note. And it was written about by Ray McGovern, former CIA officer. He wrote about it for Consortium News. In kind of like a footnote, Roger Stone his lawyers asked to see the official CrowdStrike report, because all they've been given is redacted copies, like partial copies. And eventually the government comes back, the FBI comes back and says, that's all we can give you because that's all we ever saw. Meaning they never even got a final, unredacted, official analysis of the DNC servers that sparked all of Russiagate and that was used to put us like fucking whatever, 30 seconds closer on the nuclear Armageddon clock. Never saw an unredacted. FBI never saw an unredacted analysis.
That's good investigative tactics. I mean, that's like how you investigate. You just kind of go, yeah, we'll take your word for it. I mean, right? I think that's most detectives would say that. Like,
yeah. What's behind the all these? It seems someone's accidentally used a black highlighter on this report. Do you have one where they used not a black highlighter all over this this document? Nope, we don't. We only have that one with the half the document blacked out. Yeah, that's it.
okay, good enough for me. I'm good. Yeah, let's wrap this one up.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much done. So you may ask, we're at this point. FBI hasn't seen the servers. Don't get an official report. Maybe they should go back and re-examine the servers, right? It might be time for that, considering Sussman's just been indicted. Might be a good time to look back at the servers. Well, here's, and you can
put this up.
Hold on. Shit. One second. Gonna share this this slide with you. This is Donna Brazil. She was the acting head of the DNC during a lot of this.
Oh, she's great.
Oh yeah, totally great. Totally good
she's
person.
Just a full-fledged liar that's now on Fox News. So it's really good what they're doing.
Donna Brazil said, what did they do with the servers? They destroyed them. So they literally gave replicas of the machines of the server to the FBI, got a report from CrowdStrike, and destroyed all the servers because that's normal behavior, right?
Look, any detective would tell you that's exactly what innocent people do.
Totally.
It's totally what innocent people do. They're always innocent people always look like they're hiding evidence. That's what innocent people always do.
Listen, if you stumble across a dead body, what you do is you call the cops, and then when they arrive and go, where's the body? Go, oh, I chopped it up and threw it in the river. Right? That's what you do. You don't fucking wait around for them to like look at it.
No, go. Well, we had the dead body, but then I tripped and fell and it went into this incinerator. So, and then most investigators will go, okay, cool. And then walk away. That's usually how that goes.
Yeah. The FBI often, I mean, the FBI is just really laid back. A lot of people don't realize this, you know, a lot of people like a lot of people think they're not laid back because of things like, you know, the Boston bombing suspect's friend, Ibrahim Tadashev, when they met with him and, down in Georgia and accidentally shot him 7 times, once in the back of the head. It seems like they're not laid back, but actually that's the exception that proves the rule. Totally laid back crew. Totally laid back.
I know shooting a guy 7 times, once and twice in the head seems like laid back behavior, like stuff you do when you're on vacation, but in this instance, it kind of wasn't.
So here's the last piece I have on this. You go, if for a true diehard liberal who wants to go, well, all right, I see what you're saying. Some of this seems a little creepy, or a little suspicious, but I think CrowdStrike, probably a good internet research, internet forensics outfit, probably did a good job. I'm going to believe them that they found proof of Russians stealing data from the DNC, stealing these emails, which the nerdery term for that is exfiltrating data. So in his testimony, under oath, when they finally put him under oath to Congress, CrowdStrike CEO Sean Henry said, and at first he says they exfiltrated the data, and then he leans over to his lawyer, his counsel, and he then has to go back into the mic and go, counsel just reminded me that as it relates to the DNC, we have indicators that data was exfiltrated, but we don't have concrete evidence that data was exfiltrated from the DNC. And then separately, in a separate answer, he says, it appears it was probably set up to be exfiltrated, but we just don't have any evidence that says it actually left, meaning it was actually stolen. So they don't actually have evidence that Russia stole any emails from the DNC, which actually fits with what anyone who's like studied this shit believes, which is that the emails were stolen from within the DNC. It was a leak, not a hack. And the leaker brought them to WikiLeaks, and it wasn't a Russian because a Russian wasn't working at the DNC. So there you go. The CEO of CrowdStrike, the only entity to supposedly analyze this data breach, says they have no proof Russia stole data from the DNC.
Oh, I love it. I love it that CrowdStrike's like, yeah, no, this was a leak, which someone within the DNC gave this leak, so nobody hacked anything. Yeah. So, and the other thing too, that even the Russia hacked the election narrative is like, so they hacked these emails, and that's the thing. Oh, they hacked the emails and this and that. The emails say what the emails say. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like right. Not even John Podesta himself has said, no, I didn't write that. Because if these were forged emails, you could disprove it easily. Like you could easily say, well,
they were all quickly proven to be true.
All true. None of the people who wrote them even said they just said, oh, this is Russia. They didn't say those emails are false. They're fake. I can show you the exact email. They doctored it. Because that's what you could do if they were doctored emails. So it was just a huge distraction from what the email said.
Right, which showed immense corruption.
Yes.
It showed the fact that the Clinton campaign were trying to help the Trump campaign earlier because they wanted to Pied Piper Trump because they thought that Trump would be easy to beat. So if you want to blame someone for Trump, blame the fucking Clinton campaign. It also showed that that Donna Brazile, when she was at CNN, was feeding them debate questions.
She lied. She cheated. She's a cheater. Donna Brazile is a cheater, and she still has a job and is revered by liberals. It's astounding to me. Like it's like, Julian Assange, we know he works with Russia. And it's like, you don't even want to check yourself. You don't even want to go to WikiLeaks and see the 900 entries about all of Trump's corruption. Like they don't want to go to WikiLeaks. They don't want to learn.
They want to pretend. Yeah. Assange never published anything about Trump, never talked about, but no, he published, he was full transparency. He published what he got. So if he didn't have Trump's tax records, he couldn't publish Trump's tax records.
Right. It's like, and WikiLeaks is the only publication in the history of the world that has zero retractions. Zero. None. Never been wrong. They've never been wrong. Yeah. Because they don't just publish whatever.
And now we see what they're doing to him, to Julian Assange.
That's why he's such a threat.
Yep.
All right, buddy. Do we got time for the second segment?
Of course. We got time. Let's
do it. Government secret segment 2. Beep, beep, beep. We've talked about in general all of the CIA coups that in all of the countries that they've been a part of. And we've mentioned a bunch of Central and South American countries. We've mentioned what they did to Brazil, but we've never gone into the detail of the 1964 coup that the CIA got behind. And Lee, it's the thing. It's again why we should talk about why we just did the last segment, the tactics of the Russiagate propaganda, because they will use them again, because this is the standard. We've talked about these tactics every time we talk about a coup.
If this is going to be negative towards the CIA, I'm going to put on some earmuffs. All right. I don't want to hear your bad mouthing our patriots, our true patriots, really.
Yeah. Well, spoiler alert, there was a democratically elected leader that was kind of siding with the communists, and we went in there and took him out.
So what was it we didn't like? Was he killing children? Is that what upset us? Or
No, it sounds like he just wanted to help out his own citizens and didn't want to. And then this is, boy, we've never heard this storyline before, had we? The right-wing government was going to be helpful to the CIA in America, so we got behind the evil right-wing guy.
We love a fascist. Listen, when a fascist will sign a couple of corporate contracts with us, we're all down.
Yes.
Love a fascist.
Love them. And so this is what happened. It's called the Coup of 64, basically. It's what is known. And it's a series that the actual coup was just like a couple of days, March 31st to April 1st, that led to the overthrow of President João Goulart by members of the Brazilian armed forces that were supported by the United States government. But what we really need to do is kind of go into what happened. And I want to go into, and it's again, what happened. So Jânio Quadros resigned on August 25th, 1961. At the time of his resignation, João Goulart was in the People's Republic of China. So this is give a quick backstory. There was a conservative president, and the vice president was João Goulart. So they do it kind of the way America used to do it, where it's the president and vice president are usually from opposing parties. So there's a balance even in power, right? So what happened was
as opposed to our system where the VP is just a puppet of the president, or sometimes vice versa. If you have like Dick Cheney.
Sure.
Yeah. Sometimes the president's puppet of the vice president, but yeah.
Yes.
There's a lot of hands up asses. We'll just leave it at that.
There's a lot of hands up asses. So the Goulart was known as Django, was a member of the Brazilian Labor Party. Boy, we've never heard them be targeted before. Who was a democratically elected vice president in the same election in which the conservative Jânio Quadros from the National Labor Party, which is the conservative party in Brazil, and backed by the National Democratic Union, won the presidency. So so they do it, if I understand correctly, you elect the president and vice president separately. Like they're not on a ticket the way we do. Right. So the president resigned in 61, the same year of his inauguration, in a clumsy political maneuver to increase his popularity. So and it backfired. They were hoping that the people would rise up, but they hated this guy, right? The majority of the people didn't like him. They liked the guy that was democratically elected vice president that was pro-labor, right? Okay. They anticipated that the mass demonstrations would demand his return and strengthen his position, but he miscalculated. With the presidency vacant, and according to Brazilian constitution, Quadros should have automatically been replaced by Goulart, the vice president. But since he was on a trip in the People's Republic of China at the time, and although a moderate nationalist, Goulart was accused of being a communist by right-wing militants. So that old trope that we've covered many times. They tried to prevent him. The right-wing militants tried to prevent him from taking office. After lengthy negotiations led by...
Can I just clarify something? Only communists are accused of being communists, right?
Yeah. We've never incorrectly accused someone of being a communist. That's never happened. That's never.
All right. Yeah.
Just so
because that went on, that would be fucked up.
Yeah, Lee, that would be nuts. It's not like, I'm just randomly, totally hypothetical. It's not like they did that in, Hollywood and just got rid of a bunch of writers and actors and directors because of just wild witch hunts. It's not like that happened.
Yeah, or it's not like they said the same thing about MLK or JFK or RFK or any of the Ks or Malcolm X.
Right. Or you or anybody else. It's not like
yeah. I'd put myself on that list, maybe a little lower down. Once you get down to like a couple of notches below Carrot Top is on the communist list.
Well, you're a threat, Lee. We learned that in the talking to Susie Dawson's WL Dragnet.
The Node XL.
Yep. You're a threat, as am I. I was in 24 documents.
I'm proud of you, Graham. I'm proud of you.
Thanks, buddy. On one of them, I was 5 and you were 6. So I was like one ahead of you in terms of troublemakers.
You motherfucker. What was the topic? It was the top people who have harmed the Beanie Baby brand name. It was actually top people who have harmed John Tesh's career.
Yeah, we were like neck and neck, but I just by a couple of points because I drank that vegan smoothie with coconut or cashew milk. That's what gave me the nod.
Right.
They're like, yeah, top 10 obnoxious assholes on the left. And so I got 5 and you got 6. Anyway, back to the good people of Brazil. After lengthy negotiations led mainly by Teresindo Neves, Goulart supporters and the right wing reached an agreement under which the parliamentary system would replace the presidential system in the country. Goulart would continue as the head of state, although weakened, and Neves would be named the prime minister. So this got set up in 61, right? Before we did the actual coup in 64. In 63, however, a referendum reestablished the presidential system with Goulart as president. He took office with full powers. And during his rule, several problems in Brazilian politics became evident, as well as disputes in the context of the Cold War, which helped destabilize the government. Okay, again, now this is through Wikipedia. So,
oh Lord,
I always say when we use Wikipedia just to show that how it says the CIA backed and did a coup, but then there's always like Wikipedia bullshit in there.
Yeah. They'll throw a little something here or there.
Right.
They're like, also dirty Chinamen were there.
So
and you're like, did you have to have that last sentence?
I don't think we needed. Well, here's one of the evils that Goulart proposed.
I like when you're reading about a 1961 historic coup, and then there'll just be a sentence that says Juan Guaido is president of Venezuela. And you're like, why is that? Why is that in there? Why Wikipedia? Why?
But it's nothing to do with anything. It's just like, just they're talking. And JFK was assassinated by Lee Harvey Oswald with a single bullet. So Goulart made this egregious error. Once he got in 63, when he got given full powers again, he made this egregious error. Get ready, Lee. It's going to sound familiar. He wanted to socialize the profits of large companies.
Oh, well, these people never learn.
Ding dong, the witch is dead. The wicked witch. They're coming for you, buddy. They're coming for you. You just put a bullseye on your head.
Socialist leaders never fucking learn, man. How many times do we have to kill you for you to realize socialism is not the best system?
It's almost like socialism is the best system, but the capitalists keep murdering prominent socialists. Anyway, I don't know. I'm talking crazy again.
I don't know what that was. That was some sort of brain fart you just spit out. Yeah,
I'm clearly on drugs and a communist. It was labeled as a socialist threat. Boy, does this sound familiar? Does this sound? I feel like I've heard this recently. Have I heard this recently, Lee, or am I just being crazy again?
It sounds fairly common.
Okay. God, it's almost like they always do the same thing the same way every time, and they've been doing this for decades.
Listen, you know how it is when you get a tune in your head and you kind of got to keep humming it and you just can't stop. Well, overthrowing socialist governments is a tune stuck in the CIA's head.
It's like catchy. Like
yeah.
It's been a hard day's night trying to socialize profits, and I'm going to get murdered for it because I want to help the people. Anyway, and if the 1% has its way, they're going to put a bullet in my head and it's going to feel all right.
Speaking of riffs that should go on, this should go on another 20 minutes, I think. I want to see how many lyrics Graham can come up with.
When I'm home, having the CIA tap me. All right. So, by the way, Hard Day's Night, great movie. Anyway, so since he was labeled a socialist threat by right-wing sectors of society and the military, which organized major demonstrations against the government in these staged marches, the coup brought the coup brought to Brazil a military regime politically aligned with the interests of the United States government. It's almost like they're saying big business and the United States government are in line with each other. I mean, I've never heard of such a thing, but I mean, that feels confusing.
Those seem like very different entities.
So, there's an event though I want to talk about that. This is to show you how. So one of the things
is it the Miss Bum Bum competition? Because in Brazil, the Miss Bum Bum competition is fucking epic.
Yeah,
I'm not kidding. Everybody needs to check that out.
It's pretty sweet. So here's what happened. So in 63, when after he changed the system back to giving himself full control, he openly criticized the Bay of Pigs invasion by the U.S. and criticized the Cuban regime of Fidel Castro during the Cuban Missile Crisis. So he was kind of fair on that. But this is where, I mean, we've done a lot of stuff in praise of JFK, but this is where JFK did like, we can't have communists in the region. So they sent Bobby Kennedy down there to say, hey man, you need to straighten out and stop talking all this communist stuff. So then within
this is pre Bobby Kennedy's awakening.
Yes. This is when
he was much better. Yeah.
He got much better at this. This is after they killed his brother is when he woke up. So this is when he was still.
That'll do it.
That'll do it. After they, so this is when he was still in his brother's cabinet. He was like attorney general or whatever, and went down there to talk to him. And they tried, this is the sailors' revolt, right? So the Kennedys tried to go down there, and then of course Kennedy was killed in November of 63. And so LBJ was in there. And so LBJ was not going to listen to any sort of reason at all. But in March 13th of 64, Goulart gave a speech where he promised to nationalize the country's oil refineries. Oh boy, that's another.
Why not just take a gun and put it to your head? Why?
Yeah. Goodbye. I mean, yeah, that's.
And for anybody, sometimes we assume people are not kind of new to this or whatever, but in case you haven't, read a lot of this kind of stuff, nationalizing the oil industry just means that the people get the profit of the oil industry as opposed to a tiny group of ridiculously rich human beings. That's all it means. And it gets a lot of, when people want to do that, give the profits to the humans across the board of their country, then the U.S. generally tries to kill them. I mean, if you look at Venezuela, for example.
Let's start with Iran. I mean, like, we've been doing this. Like Mossadegh wanted to do the same thing. So the newly formed CIA and whatever that was, 53 or 54, went in there, took him out. We've talked about this before. They did this in Venezuela. Anytime a country has the audacity of giving the profits of its own national resources back to its citizens, they get killed for it because companies seem to know better than what citizens want. This is why I drive an electric car. So so he wanted to do that, and as well as carry out basic reforms, including rent control. Now, I've been to Brazil. It's been a while. I haven't been there since I think 2007, but Brazil has a huge wealth disparity. It's what America is becoming. It has a handful of wealthy people. There's a very shrinking middle class. And then it has like the favelas, which are basically shanty towns where I've been in a favela. It's gnarly. There's like jerry-rigged electric wires. They're not safe. The water, it's brutal. But if you're wealthy in Brazil, you can have whatever the hell you want. And he was trying back in the early 60s to give his citizens what they deserved and what their natural resources could have afforded. So it's like it's the same old story every goddamn time. This was followed by a large demonstration on March 19, where a conservative group marched in Sao Paulo and they tried to call the March of the Family with God for Freedom, so they were using God against Goulart and his policies. Now, again, Brazil has a handful of ruling elite families that control most of the stuff. On March 25th, 64, near the 2,000 sailors assembled in Rio de Janeiro, petitioning for better living conditions and pledging their support to Goulart's reforms. The Minister of the Navy, Silvio Mota, ordered the arrest of the sailors, leading to the assembly. Mota sent a detachment of Marines to arrest the leaders and break up the assembly. The Marines ended up joining the assembly and remained with the sailors that were protesting.
Nice.
Which is like, that's what I love hearing. So shortly after the refusal to arrest the leaders, Goulart issued orders prohibiting any invasion of the assembly location. So the headquarters, so basically the military was sort of split. Who was in favor of them, who wasn't.
Right.
So all of this information was being accumulated by first the JFK, the Kennedy administration. So in a private meeting set between JFK and Goodwin and Lincoln Gordon to discuss Goulart's activity in the military and their concern over whether or not he was leading the country towards communism, the discussion concluded that they would, yeah, evil, dirty communists doing the samba in Brazil. The discussion concluded that they would support paramilitary forces in opposition to Goulart and that they would send a fellow who was fluent in Portuguese to be their contact within the military. That's when it started in 62. Is they started going, he's going to be a commie and we're going to put CIA plants in there. So then when all of these events happened, he gained control back in 64, full control, when he wanted to nationalize the oil and give people rent control. And the military was like, yeah, we want better working conditions. Everybody started to say, we want better working conditions. That's when they took him out. So then in the early hours of March 31st, 1964.
You mean took him out to eat like a date, right?
Yeah, dancing, and then I think they went somewhere else for dessert. You know what I mean? You ever done like you go to appetizers at one place, and it's like a whole night out. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, someone's leaning towards communism. You want to take them out on a nice night in the town and be like, you don't want to say goodbye to all this, right?
Yeah. That's like Fredo and Godfather 2 at that New Year's Eve party in Cuba. I need a real drink, and he's like, "Don't go too far, Fredo. Don't go too far."
And then it's just it's dinner, dessert, dancing, and then we accidentally shoot you in the head.
Yeah, you get a nice cocktails, and then one between the eyes. Yeah. So they ordered the troops to start moving towards Rio, which is where the capital used to be. Now it's in Brasilia, and the move was not coordinated with the other main generals in the plot, namely this one general Cruel of the Second Army based in Sao Paulo and Castelo Branco, the deposed army chief of the staff. The troop movement took them by surprise, and they felt it was too soon for a successful coup. Less than 2 hours after receiving news of Maduro's march, Cruel was reported saying, "This is nothing more than a military adventure from the barracks," he said in Portuguese, by General Morale, and I will not join it. In the morning, this Castelo Branco would try to stop Maduro's march on Rio de Janeiro. At the same time, news of the march had reached the General Argento Assis Brazil, João Goul's military aide, who felt confident he could put the rebellion down. As the day progressed, minor revolts and military actions ensued, such as Castelo barricades, the military war building, and this other building in Rio. Despite this, the crucial support needed for the coup, that of General Second Army, had not been implemented. At around 10 p.m., the General Cruel called João Goulart. In the call, Cruel asked the president to break with the left wing by sacking his Minister of Justice and Chief of Staff and outlaw the commando the Workers' General Command, a major workers' organization. So outlaw workers' organization. So at the 11th hour, they were giving him a chance to like, just get rid of the labor unions and we'll let you stay.
Right.
Goulart replied that doing so would be humiliating defeat for him, making him a decorative president.
They're like, exactly. That's what we're aiming for.
I love the way you're thinking. Perfect.
It's a great idea you just had.
Decorative president. I like how that sounds. You should do more of that. Like,
well, in fact, we'll let you be in charge of all the decorations in the palace. You can be the president of decorative things.
Look at the Queen of England. She just prances around and has no power. Yeah. You get to do that.
She's having a blast.
You get to walk little dogs. Guys in weird hats salute you. It's great.
Yeah, it's great.
Goulart told Cruel, General, I don't abandon my friends, would rather stick with my grassroots. You should stick to your convictions. Put your troops out there in the street and betray me publicly. Pretty bold.
Wow.
After the 10 p.m., that was the 10 o'clock call, Cruel, this general, called Goulart 2 more times, repeating his demands and receiving the same answer. Goulart's attempt to revoke the generals was disastrous. 2 of his 3 military chiefs of staff were out of action for various reasons. His military aide was a newly promoted brigadier general, General Assis Brazil. His greatest base of military support was located in his native southern Brazil. His reaction consisted of shifting a general so anyway, he's just shifting all these guys around.
Yeah.
On April 1st, he left Rio to go to the capital in Brasilia in an attempt to stop the coup. He arrived at 4:30. Reservists were called up earlier in the day by the local commander and were brought to the anti-aircraft headquarters in Brasilia to try to protect him. It was believed that their defense would only be able to deter the overthrow by about a day. At the time, General Cruel and the Second Army began to march towards the area between Sao Paulo and Rio in the southeast. Only the First Army, commanded by General and based in Rio, had not enlisted in the coup. So basically, by the end of the day, a telegram from the CIA on April 2nd states that the National Council of Government on April 1st approved a resolution to receive Goulart as president unless he had resigned before leaving Brazil. The telegram also reports that President Goulart had fled Brazil to Uruguay. So this is what the CIA, this is what I love about the CIA. 7 people died during the events of April 1st, casualties, and then the Goulart left. So the CIA basically said, oh, he will be received as president unless he had resigned before leaving Brazil. So they made him resign.
Yeah.
The CIA basically forced him to resign. The CIA got the Brazilian Congress to say, get him out of there, and then all will be restored. So this is one of the tactics the CIA likes to do, is help create chaos. So there's soldiers in the streets. Some of the generals are on his side, some aren't, fighting craziness. And then the CIA comes in and goes, just have the guy step down and we'll just get back to order. Everything will be fine.
Yeah. Well, listen, we're going to make it all right. If you just get rid of that guy, it'll be fine.
Everything's fine. Things just got out of control. We don't know what happened, but let's just kind of iron this out and we'll sort it out later. And it's like, no, you guys,
in fact, we have a guy standing here who's going to take over, and he's a really, really great dude. Don't mind the Hitler mustache. We've tried to talk him out of that, but he's great. He's just going to treat you people really well.
Yeah. And we also threatened sanctions too. Part of what led up to this was we said, you better play ball with us or you're going to lose financial support. That old American gem that we like to play with countries.
And nowadays, I don't know when the IMF and World Bank started, but nowadays we have the IMF and World Bank so that we can be like, it's not the United States, it's the World Bank. What could we do? They said you can't socialize things.
Our hands are tied.
Yeah.
And so the aftermath of this was then a military dictatorship took over, a brutal military dictatorship, and they were in power for 21 years until 1985. So that's what Brazil was like in the 60s.
Now we've done it again with Bolsonaro.
Yes.
I mean, we're not the ones who did it, but we certainly supported, fake charges being brought against Lula, and Wall Street Journal and other media outlets endorsed Bolsonaro before he won. So we did our part.
I'm sure there's documents and evidence out there. When will we see it? Who knows? That will verify the CIA's involvement in deposing Lula, putting him in jail,
or even just advising. Like if they just sat down with someone in the Bolsonaro, or not even Bolsonaro, just the ruling elite who wanted to get Lula out, sat down with them and said, "Here's a game plan."
Yeah, at the very least, they went, "This is how you get Lula out." And again, and if you play ball with this game plan, the money keeps coming. I mean, that's another way. And the Biden administration just said recently that one of their fears of Bitcoin is it will undermine the United States' ability to put sanctions on countries. Oh, good.
Yeah. Well, no, that's how it's being used already, is to somewhat get around sanctions. I mean, not well enough, but yeah.
Which is why when El Salvador went to making Bitcoin its main currency over the summer, and in a month that since September 1st, right? They said it's starting now. So they announced it in, I think, June, and they said September 1st, every merchant has to start accepting this by September 1st. From September 1st to October 1st, 50% of the country got crypto wallets. An amazing amount of time for half of the country to just get on board with it immediately. It's not like rolling out, taking only 10%. Yeah. So I think, again, this is my little Bitcoin soapbox. I think when El Salvador does this, and other Central and South American countries are starting to realize this, and you're going to have somebody like Venezuela, who's been a target of United States sanctions, is going to come in and they're going to all start going to cryptocurrency to circumvent this crap. And the more countries that do it, the more power they're going to have. And America is not going to be able to do anything about it, because we basically got a guy who wanted to socialize the oil and give people rent control in Brazil. We got him. The CIA ruined another country. And now they have this right-wing asshole, Bolsonaro, who literally said, let's just do herd immunity. A year ago, he was like, well, everyone's got to die of something. He was literally just like, let's just kill off a certain percentage of the population with COVID. He's a right-wing asshole.
Well, and I mean, he's truly fascist. What did he do? He saluted or gave an honor or something to the torturer that had tortured Dilma Rousseff's father, or maybe tortured her or something. Like, he said that indigenous should be executed. He said certain women should be raped. Like, he is truly the bottom of the barrel piece of shit.
He is a piece of shit. I did a story on, he just set indigenous land in the Amazon on fire. Just like he's letting them just deforest and letting the cattle ranchers get in there and just cut it all down. And it's just unbelievable what he's doing. He's awful. And so we helped to contribute to that again.
But Brazil still a wonderful place. And I think you should show the slide that I have from Wikipedia. Again, this is Wikipedia. The Miss Bum Bum competition. People really need to learn about this. They need to know more about it. I think we need to support it.
I was married to a Brazilian woman, and I can tell you that it's a different culture. They're like, yeah, I remember being on the beach in Santa Monica with my wife and a bunch of Brazilian women, all had thong bikinis, and there was like some American women in regular bikinis, and they were making fun of them in Portuguese because they're like, wow, those bathing suits cover too much. And they were like nice, cute bikinis, but these Brazilian women were making fun of the American women as though they were wearing bathing suits from the 1920s.
Like a one piece,
yes, cover their whole body.
Like footy pajama bathing suits.
Yes, they were just like, wow, what are these women wearing this cover? What are they afraid of? Like, show your ass. It's a whole nother culture. It's a whole other culture down there. So, and it's a beautiful country with beautiful people in it. And it's a shame that they've got an asshole like Bolsonaro running it. And he went in there and tricked people with fake populism like Trump did, and some people fell for it.
Yeah.
Even though he's a fascist asshole. And Lula's out of prison now. And if Lula runs again, he'll win.
Well, he is running again, right? And
I think so.
But it'll be interesting to see what tricks Bolsonaro pulls out with a corrupt judiciary to try and imprison him again or something. And I'm sure the U.S. government will probably be right there to help him.
Yeah, the U.S. government will help Bolsonaro, not Lula.
Yeah.
They'll paint Lula as a whatever, Russia something.
Dirty communist, yeah.
Yeah, dirty communist, whatever. But Lula.
Dirty communist Russia, Maduro. Yeah, that thing.
Yeah. So the CIA is down there as we speak, screwing up that country. But Brazil is a fantastic country. The people are great. Bolsonaro's a piece of shit, so I hope he loses. So sai fora Bolsonaro.
Well, thank you guys for joining us on yet another episode of Government Secrets.
Boom. Hit the like button, subscribe, go support our show at libirapay.com/government secrets. I'm slowly figuring that out, but we'll make that happen. Yeah, Lee, where can everybody watch all your stuff?
Well, first off, everybody should check out radindiemedia.com, radindiemedia.com. It's hopefully you'll make it your front page news every day. It's like tons of leftist media, left-wing media over there. And my stuff's up there as well. If people just want my stuff, that's at leecamp.com. And my Twitter's at leecamp.
Nice.
Yeah.
Obrigado, Graham and Lee. No problemo. Muito bom, Connie. Muito obrigado. So that's our show, everybody. Support what we're doing. You can watch my stuff. Go to grahamelwood.com to support everything I'm doing. And of course, become a subscriber to rockfin.com because you get my premium content, Lee's premium content, Jimmy, Whitney Webb, a bunch of other people that are on that platform. And it's blockchain and it's cryptocurrency, and they don't thwart us. So that's why I have 40,000 followers on that platform and not 9,000 or whatever the fuck they would do if they were run by CIA. So,
okay, Mr. Humblebrag.
So, yes, I'm the #1 best person on Rockfin of all time ever. So just check that out. Go over to Rockfin and check out Lee Camp.
The goat of Rockfin.
The goat. No, there's got to be some wrestling channel that's got like 100,000 or something on that on Rockfin. There's some MMA guy, I'm sure.
Yeah,
that's
true.
Crushing it. All right, dude. That's our show. We'll see you all next week.
Later. Thanks again, man.
Ciao, ciao. Boa viagem.
Yeah, that.
Oi, meus amigos e amigas. Muito obrigada. Thank you guys so much. I will now go over to Rockfin. A great way to support the show is go to rockfin.com/GrahamElwood. And if you have you support us there. Melissa H. Shave Your Knuckles for Justice. Melissa, just had to share that I saw in a comment somewhere, someone said they seen a t-shirt with Churchill giving the V for Victory sign and Hitler doing the Nazi salute. And under the picture, it said, scissors beats paper. Oh, shit. That's awesome. That's fantastic. Thank you, Melissa, for that. Gene Z-Back. What's up, Gene? Shaving Knuckles for Justice. Thank you for supporting us, ladies and gentlemen. You can support, of course, tonight at 8:00 Pacific time. I'll be doing my Rock late night crypto lounge. It's 8:00 Pacific time, and it's for Rockfin premium members. So if you want to support the show, go to rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, endorse my channel. It's only $10 a month, and $10 gets you everybody on the platform's premium content. So I know some of you are money's tight, but a lot of you have jumped over from Patreon to Rockfin because you're like, on Patreon, I was spending $20, $30, $40 a month to support all my favorite contributors. Now for 10, you get everybody. And I'm even putting some free clips on Rockfin that are exclusive to Rockfin. Like anytime I talk about crypto, I usually just put it only on Rockfin. So join us over there, ladies and gentlemen, at about 2.5 hours, 8:00 Pacific time. Check that out. And thank you, Rockfin, Goat Graham, and Baby Goat League. We had 287 likes on YouTube. Let's get that up to 300, folks. Get that up to 300. I know you can do it. I know you can do it. Hit the like button in whatever format you are watching. Hit the like button, ladies and gentlemen. 289 likes. Let's get it up there. Let's get it up to 300. Stroke it up to 300. Just jerk it up to 3. Just suck it up to 300. 291. We got it. Really close. Just rub it up to 300. You can get it up there. 293. Come on, everybody. Come on. You could do it. You could do it. 293. But hit the like button on YouTube. Hit the like button on Rockfin too. No, 294. We're getting close. Melissa H. Well, just searched that t-shirt and there's a couple of versions. Nice, Melissa H. Thank you so much. 296. Hit the like button. If you haven't hit the like button already, hit the like button. Hit the like button. Come on now. 298. You could do it. You can do it. Two more likes. Come on. Hit the like button. Come on. You can do it. Totally. Like button. 299. 299. Boom. 300. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for supporting our show. All right, folks. Go join. Go to rockfin.com/Graham Elwood and join so you can get the exclusive Rockfin Monday Night Crypto Lounge from 8:00 Pacific time on rockfin.com. Thank you all so much for watching Government Secrets with Lee Cameron, Graham Elwood. Episode 61 in the books.